Okay, welcome to class. Hello. All right. Okay. All right, welcome to this Python tutorial class. We're going to be having a very good time learning Python, one of the most popular programming languages in the world. So, here are the objectives for today's class. At the end of today's class, you'll be able to gain a basic understanding of Python programming language, its uses and applications in various fields. You're also going to get introduced to essential concepts in Python, including print statements, comments, data, and variables. Yeah, so let's get in. What is Python itself? Python is a high-level interpreted programming language known for its readability and versatility. Python is broadly used for various things across the world and in different fields. What's a programming language? A programming language is a language that a computer can understand and execute. It's a way to communicate with a computer, telling it exactly what you want it to do. Now, just as there are several human languages like the English language, French, Chinese, German, Spanish, and so on and so forth, there are also different programming language, and Python is one of them. So Python is not the only programming language. It's just one of the programming languages that the computer can understand. And just as I've explained before, we have different human languages that if you learn the language, you're able to communicate using those language. Uses an application of Python. Python is used in web development. They can build a lot of websites using Python. We have the Django there. We have Flask. These are Python frameworks that are used for building websites. Python is also used in data science and machine learning, automation and scripting. With Python, you can automate a lot of tasks instead of doing them manually, repetitively. You can just automate it using Python. It's also used in game development, software development, building desktop applications, and so on and so forth. Now, setup information. Setup information. There are two ways we can do this class. We can use an online platform, but I'll be using that for this tutorial. We'll be using onlinegdb.com for this tutorial. Another way you can program Python on your computer is to download and install Python on your computer. That's the other way that you can be able to program Python locally on your machine. Why must you install Python before you can program Python? It's because Python is an interpreter-based language, which means that before you can run any Python code, the interpreter must be installed on your machine to translate the script into executable command. So if you don't want to install Python on your computer, we can use OnlineGDB and we're able to program Python. So let's go to OnlineGDB and start doing some programs using Python. Okay, so all right, welcome. So this is the OnlineGDB that I made mention during the introduction, and this is where we're going to be doing our Python code. So once you come in here, you just type OnlineGDB on your web browser, and it brings you here. Then you come to language, and you select the language that you are going to make use of. And in this class, we are using Python. So I'm going to set this to Python 3. So now let's get started. We're going to begin with the print statement. Okay, so I'm going to start with a comment. I'm going to explain what a comment is very soon because I don't want Python to run this code. I don't want the interpreter to run it. I want the Python interpreter to ignore this line of code. So the print statement is used to display tests on the screen. That is the most simplest definition of the print statement. The print function is used to output data to the console. Now, this is the console you're going to see when we start using this print statement. You're going to find the output here. Everything is going to be displayed right here on this editor. The print itself is a keyword that tells Python to display messages. Now, here is an example. Let's say print. This is how it's being used. And we are printing a string. I will explain what a string is very, very soon. Print, I love Python. I love Python. Now let's run this code. Just come here and click on run. And here we have it. I love Python. Now, the print statement must be written correctly for it to work correctly. Now, if you observe, the first letter P on this word is lowercase. So let me change this P now to uppercase and then try to run this code and see if it's going to work. Oops! You see, it tells us name error, print is not defined. Then it is asking us, do you mean print? So it's actually telling us this ought to be the correct way of writing it. So I'm going to change this uppercase now to lowercase. And then let me run it again one more time. And here you go. And it ran successfully without any error. Now let's do one more example before we go forward into this class. We'll go further into this class. So let's write a program. Write a program that prints welcome to Python program. All right, so we have this example we're going to do right now. We're going to write a program that prints welcome to Python programming. How we're going to do that is pretty easy. So you just write print, that's the keyword, and brackets. Then we have our quotes because it's a string. Like I said, I'm going to explain what the string is. And now we're going to put this message inside. Welcome to Python programming. All right. So let me run this code. And yes, it ran successfully with no problem at all. So the print statement is used to display text on the screen and is used to output data, output information to the console. All right. So this takes us to the second thing we're going to be looking at, which is comments. Comments are used to take notes in Python. So let me just also put this here. Comments are used to take notes in Python. Yeah, comments are used to take notes in Python. Python will not run any line of code that has a comment. Comments are crucial for code documentation and are ignored by the Python interpreter. So you can see line 1, the Python interpreter ignored it and didn't run this code. Now, let's assume I want to take this off, and let's see what's going to happen. Let's try to run this. Yeah, you see, there's a problem. There's a problem. It didn't come out the way it should. So let me put back my hash symbol and let Python know that line 7 is a comment. Don't run it. So when I hit run, everything comes out successfully and it doesn't have any problem whatsoever. In Python, a single line comment starts with the hash symbol, and that's what we have been doing. I've been doing so far because I'm just using a single line comment, and it begins with a hash symbol. Everything after that hash symbol on the same line is ignored by the interpreter. The interpreter does not run those lines that has the hash symbol at the beginning. All right, let's do one more. Let's do an example on comment. So I'm still going to use the comment because I don't want the hash symbol first. I don't want Python interpreter to run it. So let's say write a Python program that includes a comment explaining what the program does. Okay, so I want to write a Python program that includes a comment explaining what the program does. A very simple way of doing this is just as we have been doing. So we want to write a program, and the program should include a comment that explains what the program is doing, because that's the purpose of comments. Comments is to give us more information about a line of code or about a program. So now I'm going to decide what kind of program do I want to write, because that will help me to write my comments. So I want to write a program that prints a fireware message. So I will say a program that prints a fireware message. Okay? So now I want to write the program. I've written the comment. I want to write the program. So I'll say print, and it's a string. Tests are always string. Of course, I'm going to give more information on it very soon. Print goodbye. Goodbye. So now let's run it and see what happens. So you see that? I love Python. Welcome to Python programming. Goodbye. Now I want to comment out all of this because I want to teach us something else. I want to show us something different. So let me just comment this out so that it doesn't have to run again. Okay. So the next, which is the last for today's class, is variables and data. Also, I think let me just take this off completely. I really don't need them again. Let me just take this off completely. So variables and data. So I'm still going to use comment, variables and data. Variables and data. So what's a variable? And what's a data? A data is simply a piece of information. So data, you see, I've been using the comment. I told us comments help us to take notes in Python. So data is a piece of information. Yeah, that's the simplest definition. And what are variables? So variables, I'll put this in hash. So I'm going to use the hash because it's a comment. So variables acts as storage for data. So variable acts as storage for data. So variable is more or less like a container where you can store data or where you can store information. Just as you keep things in your house, you put them in a container, and whenever you need them, you go there and pick them. We can store this data or informations in variables. Now, just before I show you how to do that, let's take a look at some data types that we have in Python. Data types that we have in Python. Okay, so we have number one, we have strings. These are tests enclosed. These are tests enclosed in quotes. These are tests enclosed in quotes. That's correct. Yes, enclosed in quotes. So example is hello. So all the while you be seeing me typing and I'm putting everything in quotes is because it's a string. So strings are text in Python. So we also have another data type, and we have integers. We have integers. Integers are whole numbers without decimals. Whole numbers without decimals. Example, let's just say 10. Now you don't need quotes for integers. Then the last one I'm going to show us today is floats. And these are numbers with decimals. Numbers with decimals. And example is let's just say 10.5. Yeah, 10.5. Okay. So now, how do we assign data to variables? We use the equal sign to assign data to variables. So I want to assign John to the variable called name. So I'll say name is equals to John. Then print name. Let's see what happened here. Wow, there's an error. Of course, it showed us name is equals to John, and then it tells us name error. Name John is not defined because more or less John is not appearing the way it should appear. Do you know what's responsible for that? Okay, I'm going to tell us. Now, in data types, I told us that strings are text enclosed in quotes. If you don't put it in quotes, Python will not interpret it as strings. Python will not see it as strings. So let me quickly put this now in quotes and run it again this time. Yeah, John is out and it's working well. Now for integers and floats, you don't need to put them in quotes. Now let me show us, do one more example, and that'll be all for today's class. So, now let's write a program. Write a program that prints hello John. That prints hello John without adding John in the code. So we want to write a program that prints hello John without adding John to the code. So there will not be John will not be added to the code in the print message. So how we're going to do that? So we're going to say print. Now, hello. Hello is a string, so I'm going to put it in a string. Print hello. I'm going to use a comma here. And they told us not to type in John. So because John has already been assigned to a variable called name, so we are not going to type John here. And also told us not to include John in this particular line of code. So I'm just going to call the variable name, and I'm going to put it here, name. That's it. So I'm going to run it. And then it says, hello, John. Okay, a code is interfering, a line of code is interfering. So let me comment this out so that Python will not run it. Python will not ignore it. So run it one more time. Hello, John. So it's working fine. Now, the comma is a separator which is used to separate the text from the variable. So the comma is used to separate arguments and help separate the text from the variable. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you.